The honeybee,
Yes.
is one of the most important, or the most important pollinator on our planet. It's also one of the most endangered species on our planet. Without bees, we would not live the lives we do. And people don't realize this because of their disconnection from nature. And it's actually wreaking havoc with the bee population, is humanity's disconnection, our disconnection from nature, and understanding the web of life, our intrinsic connection with it, and our interdependence upon all species within that web of life, particularly the bee. And I've loved bees for a long time. They've been in my field of awareness and coming, almost like they were orbiting closer and closer and closer until I started in Bali during COVID time to take up residence here. And a beautiful brother took me to Sabatu Water Temple here, where there is a beehive. And I said to him, do you know, has that beehive always been here? And he said, you know, I don't know. Even though he went regularly, he'd never noticed the beehive. And I thought, oh, that was interesting. And then I asked him, do you know of anybody in Bali who works with bees? And he goes, oh, there is a guy. I said, I'd love to make contact with him and find out who he is. And it was left there. And it took him ages to get back to me. It was like, I felt like I was nagging him. Have you found that contact yet? And eventually did. And he introduced me to Jan, the Bali bee man. So I sent him to Jan. I said, Jan, would you like to come and drink tea next time you're in Ubud? And he said, yes. So I had Jan come around my villa, and we sat for 2 hours together, sharing our lives and experience with the bees. And it was extraordinary. The room felt like a beehive afterwards. It was just an infusion of love, because bees vibrate at the frequency of our anahata, our heart chakra, at the frequency. And it was just the most beautiful sharing. And after, when we completed and we were closing, Jan said, is there anything else that you would like from me? And I said, no, nothing at all, Jan. It just felt really important that we connect and have this sharing. And I was like, oh, is there something you want from me? And he goes, there is. I would like support to set up a charity which in Bali is called Yayasan, for the bees. And because I'd had many, many years, like 9 years experience in Africa, working in wildlife and habitat conservation and in charity work, and I had space, I said, yes, Jan, I will help you. And that in Bali with the bees began.
How beautiful. You genuinely made me fall in love with bees. Well, you and Jan, of course. I think I had no idea. I had no idea how important and how good they were for us. So thank you for doing that, because I think it's a very valuable information that should be spread worldwide.
And you know, this was also saying yes to Jan, was saying yes to do conservation work from a completely different perceptual state as when I was in my 30s doing conservation work in Africa. When I was in my 30s and with all pure intent, I was coming from a place of rescuer, saving Africa, the elephants and the people and the environment. Whereas I said to Jan, this journey with the bees will be very different, because I'm not coming from a place of rescuer anymore. So that if I'm going to work with the bees in a conservation project, a Yayasan, a charity, an NGO, then the bees' consciousness needs to be at the center of the project, meaning that we need to listen to the bees and ask the bees how best we may serve them. How best can we give the bees a voice in the world?
Yes. I think for me, charity is one of those things that has so much value, but you can't put a price on. It's like it nurtures your soul, and but with the bees, it really takes it to another level because of this frequency, as you say. It's not so much what we are doing for them, more like we're just giving them a space, and then what they are actually doing for us is like times 1,000, you know? And I can see the change in my mother, who's very ill, and she's much better since I
Yeah.
got back. So it's definitely impacted our life.
It is. And you know, people say, oh, you keep bees, what's the honey like? And it's the first thing. The pollen products, beekeepers keep bees to make honey and sell. And it's like, but I never take honey from my bees. No, understanding too that the European bee is a lot larger and produces more honey than the Asian honeybee. The European hive from the average size might produce 20 liters, where the little Asian honeybee might produce 2. So they need the honey they produce for
Yes.
when the nectar pollen is not so abundant at certain times of the year.
Absolutely.
And then, but people say, but why are you keeping them? And just being with bees is an absolute gift, because we get to live in that unified field of love.
Yes.
That the bees operate on. And the bees are the most incredible healers and the most incredible teachers.
All you need is love.
Yeah, our bee practice, there's many people starting to practice apiculture, or apitherapy, which is being practiced with different degrees of awareness and consciousness. Because the venom on the bee, the venom from the bee sting, is actually extremely invigorating for a person's immune system, and extremely healing for any disease that is connected with inflammation. So literally receiving a bee sting, take it as a gift. What it is. So you can actually go to centers now to meditate with the bees, to receive instead of acupuncture, it's apitherapy from the bee stings.
Yes.
If you're living with bees, they will treat you if your body requires treatment. And they will also use their stings to bring you into awareness. The first hive that I ever came to live with, I got up the next morning and I was on autopilot, forgotten they were living above my fridge, and I walked out into the kitchen and one came and stung me straight away. And Austin turned to the bees and said, what was that about? And all they said was simply, be present in our presence. That was it. They never hung me again. They hung out, they would swarm, fly all around me. That's all they requested, be present in our presence.
Oh, that's such a beautiful lesson of life. It's gorgeous.
And that was the first one. And then, you know, some weeks later, we were having a Bee Life Global meeting. And Pei and Jan and I think 1 or 2 others were working with the bees. And Pei got a sting right here. And I looked and thought, oh, that's interesting. And within a minute, I had got stung on exactly the same acupressure point. So then I said to the bees, what was this about? And they said, that's an initiation. Because for the charity that we were building, I was taking the role as chairwoman and Pei was vice chairwoman. And they literally gave us both an initiation. Because we need to be able to communicate with the bees and think like a bee, and then be able to act with the consciousness of the bee to be able to serve them. So this was also a gift from them.
It's beautiful.
And I'm like, okay, I'm getting the message. And then literally just this Nyepi weekend, which is the if you ever get to Bali and Nyepi, be here for this Nyepi Silent Day. Is just an absolute gift. You know, the airport closes down. There's nobody on the streets. Everybody is home it's the end and beginning of the new year. And in that time, people are asked to fast, meditate, and reflect, to cleanse and purify and prepare themselves for the next year. So I love it. And I prepared my space and everything for my day of ceremony. And at in the wee hours of the morning before the ceremony, the bees gave me 2 acupuncture, bee venom acupuncture. One was right here, and the other one was right here. And if you look on your Chinese meridian chart, you'll find they're both on the heart meridian.
Wow, gorgeous.
Yeah, and that was the gift for the beginning of my journey that I went through on Nyepi, which was absolutely profound.
Yes, Nyepi is a moment of stillness, like a real one. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, there's one important thing is know that the bees are here to teach us, to remind us what it is to live in community.
Yes.
Everything the bees do from the time they're born until the time they die, which on average is only a 24-day span for most of the maidens or the workers. And in that time, everything they do for the whole. So humanity right now, at this time of evolution on our planet, are being asked to step out of the me story and into the we story.
Yes, it's something that really came up for me last year. I was working on that last year. It's not about the journey or the destination, but it is about the company and the tribe. And I think in every obstacles I've had in my life, and literally there have been a few, it was really nice to feel support. Yeah.
And just the astrological alignment is really significant right now. On the 3rd of March, Pluto moved into Aquarius, and Pluto comes in usually for a long period of time. Pluto's in Aquarius for 3 months, out again, and then moves in at the end of this year for 20 years. The last time Pluto moved into Aquarius was the time of the Haiti, French, and American revolutions. And we are entering, as Pluto enters in Aquarius, a time of a revolution on our planet.
Yes.
And the next revolution is literally the revolution. It's a love-olution. It's a revolution of love coming back into community. And have a responsibility within ourselves to show up for that one in our lives. And it's really exciting.
That's gorgeous. It's a beautiful way to end this episode about your work with the bees. So if our people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Best to use the Gmail, earthwalk.project@gmail.com.
Perfect. And there's also a really nice Instagram page, belife.global, which I will link in the comments for you. Thank you for listening. We wish you all a beautiful day.
Be Life Global also have a website.
Yes? Perfect. So it's probably... Yes. Yes, perfect. I will link that in the comments as well. So this episode is part of a series with Leanne. So please look up the other episodes, and we wish you all a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you.
Slow secrets.